What's going on, guys? Sorry about lighting and junk. I'm trying to get better with all that, but I ain't been doing this too long, so you gotta cut me some slack. Anyway, like I said on the Facebook page, today's video has got a little bit of history to it. It's not as simple as just recording something that's about my feelings and stuff about a coaster. Today, I got my stuff written down because I can't remember shit. Um, Today, I'm going to be talking about Dominator at King's Dominion. I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this. I already have when I've talked about it, but this is personally my favorite coaster at the park. I know I'm talking about a park that's got I-305 and Twisted Timbers, which are both really good, but for some reason, I know I-305 is because I like thrilling stuff, but stuff that is just out of the world intense. Like I-305 is just crazy intense. And if that's the kind of coaster you're into, you're going to love it. Now, I do love roller coasters, but everybody's got their kinds that they like, and something with that level of intensity just isn't really what I'm into. So Dominator is what I gravitated toward. Um, but with that being said, I'll start off with some stats for the ride. Um, it's 4,210 feet in length, 157 feet tall, with a drop of 148. But it's not really a straight down regular drop like you might be used to. It's this kind of swooping sort of right hand turn drop. And it's good. It reminds you a lot almost of the drops on the inverts. Anyway, it goes about 65 miles per hour, and it has a 135-foot tall vertical loop. From the research I've done, it's like the third or fourth tallest vertical loop in the world. Features a cobra roll and interlocking corkscrews. And we'll talk about them corkscrews later. Um, First, we'll start off with some history. The park that it originally opened in was called Geauga Lake, and it operated more as sort of a recreation spot. Um, that all started in 1887 with its first coaster coming much later in 1925. Uh, Over the years, they would add small little attractions and stuff. But in 1969, it was sold to Funtime Inc., which was later purchased by Premier Parks in 95. And then soon after that, it was renamed Six Flags Ohio. Dominator, the coaster we're talking about right now, originally opened as Batman Night Flight in May of 2000 at the no longer operating Six Flags Ohio. Six Flags attempted this massive expansion of the park, um, and then after acquiring SeaWorld Ohio, they combined the two parks and changed the name to Six Flags Worlds of Adventure. Um, Ownership of the park changed again in about 2004. Cedar Fair purchased the park, giving the park back its original name of Geauga Lake, and removing all of the DC theming, anything like that in the entire park, and especially on this coaster. At the time, it was called Batman Night Flight, and Cedar Fair doesn't have the license to use those properties, so they renamed it to Dominator, and it functioned as Dominator in Geauga Lake for like 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years. Excuse me. Um, the park's closure, there's a lot of theories behind it. Um, if you ask me, I would say that when Six Flags bought it, they tried to expand at an incredibly rapid rate. And then there's parks within a reasonable distance um, that it's pulling from that same competition. Cedar Point, not that far away. Kings Island's further away, but it's still there, kind of pulling partially from that same market. Anyway, and then Canada's Wonderland, not far away either. Um, um, it was later, after Geauga Lake was closed, they relocated several of the rides, and one of the rides that was relocated was Dominator. It was moved to King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia, and it's still running to this day. I got the opportunity to go there a total of 4 days over the course of 2 years. Um, and this is where I start to get into kind of specifics. The trains feature the old school B&M restraints, the hard over the shoulder restraints, and I'm not a fan of. They're good and bad. The good is that on some of the rides that they're featured on, they give you more of an opportunity for airtime than the vest restraints currently do. But as the rides get older, they get a little more shaky, a little more rattly, and the hard over the shoulder restraints invite the possibility of headbanging. So, but anyway, outside of that, if you're a heavier rider like me, those hard over the shoulder restraints aren't that welcoming. But a good thing is, at least in the Cedar Fair chain, several of the parks have put extended seat belts on. It's usually like rows 4 and 5. So if you're a bigger person like me, but you still want to ride, you're good to go. No worries there. You dispatch out of the station and you kind of take these sort of meandering turns, and it almost surprises you how fast you're going. It's not like intense or anything, but it kind of, you're like, oh, cool. All right, this is going to be good. You go up the lift hill, and when you come off of the lift hill, you sort of go this pre-drop like a lot of the older B&Ms have. When you come off of the pre-drop, like I said earlier in the video, it's not a regular drop. It's sort of this, it's a swooping right-hand kind of curve, but you pick up tons and tons of speed, enough to enter that vertical loop. Really, really solid. I really enjoyed it. You go into it with a ton of force, and you don't slow down so much that you're going to think you roll back or anything. That doesn't happen, but you do slow down enough. It's kind of like you're tinkering with hang time. After that, you come the rest of the way out of the loop, and it's really good. You pick up all that speed again. Then you proceed through a couple of these kind of drawn out, still speedy, but just kind of like a drawn out turn. And that sends you into the Cobra Roll. Now, I want to talk about this Cobra Roll, because Cobra Rolls on a lot of coasters, some B&M inverts, boomerangs, if you ever been on a boomerang, and who hasn't, they're fucking everywhere. The Cobra Roll is usually a little rough because the coaster's usually going so fast, and you sort of whip through it. It really bangs you up, sometimes causes a lot of head banging. No bueno. But this one, I don't know if it's because it's a sit-down floorless. I'm sure they've kind of figured that with this big of a coaster that is this heavy, we're going to try to stretch it out and reduce that. And in my opinion, they accomplished that. That Cobra Roll is actually really fun. Very minimal, if any, head banging. Anywho, after this, you come out of that Cobra Roll, and you kind of enter this left-hand turn into the mid-course brake run. You come off of the mid-course brake run, and remember them corkscrews? Visually, they're very neat to look at. To watch it, it's really cool, and it's really picturesque if you like taking photographs and videos of it. It looks great, but it's like half of the coaster was this graceful, sort of flirting with intensity current B&M, and it was like once it hits the mid-course brake run, it started having this midlife crisis and started remembering what the young days were like. And they're great. They're really, really intense. But like I said, they, for me, caused a lot of head banging. But is what it is, Anyway, a few turns after that, you're back at the station. Overall, I really liked this ride, with the exception of those corkscrews. But I felt like I needed to throw in the little bit of history about it, and it's really funny because they took the Batman theming away, but this character they made up for the Battle of King's Dominion looks suspiciously like Batman if he were going to a rave party. But overall, among the floorless coasters I've ridden, I like Hydra. It could be more intense, but it's very, very smooth, and the JoJo roll's great. But behind that, I'd say Dominator. Rougarou at Cedar Point, I do not like, and I will not claim to. If it got ripped out, wouldn't bug me. But if I had to give it Dominator a 1 through 10, I'd probably give it 7, 8, somewhere around there. Really, really good. I think that you would enjoy it if you go to King's Dominion. It's one of the ones you have to ride while you're there. And how can you not? It's right inside the entrance, right after you left. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. If you agree with me, great. If not, that's fine. Go experience it for yourself, and maybe your opinion will change. Um, Anywho, please like, share, and subscribe this channel. I'm going to try to get a video out every Tuesday or Wednesday, and usually going to be like a review and some kind of like silly shit that I come up with. So if you like it, stay tuned. There'll be more to come. Thank you very much.